Alright, hello, welcome. I can't remember, but it's the next episode of the Devlogs. Let's go over what we done last time. Let me get comfortable. So last time, what we did was, what did we do? Oh yeah, so we attached custom signals to ball out zone. Now you can see my mouse. Yeah, so we got ball out zone with a custom signal over here called ball lost. And in paddle, we've got a custom signal as well called, where's my signal? Called ball hit. So now we've got custom signals attached to both. In Game Manager, we're actually listening to those signals, and now our game loop is somewhat working with, losing a life when the ball goes out of play, or when we hit the ball, gain points or whatever. Then I had a bunch of issues with GitHub and my cloud service, so I had to do all of that. So we did a little bit of the survival time ticker, which is, let me explain, make sure I'm there. So we've got our score already. We've already explained how that works, but part of score has to be survival time, which means per second gain, I don't know, plus, let's make it 10 points. 10 points per second that you survive. So I was trying to implement that. I didn't get to it properly. I was having some issues with casting into floats and integers and trying to figure stuff out. But now, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try to, now that my head's all clear, I'm going to try to wrap my head around everything. Try to ensure that everything is instantiated into the correct value, and make sure that I implement survival time. Yeah, I need to do that. So I'm going to do that. Try to implement it correctly, and we'll see how I get along and how I manage to do that. Alright, so basically, right. I had a lot of errands to run. That's why it's dark now. And so all day, all I've managed to do is what I just said I was going to implement. But nonetheless, I'm still going to be coding throughout the night because I want to actually get something done. So basically, what did I get done? I got the, where is it? Survival timer sorted. So the way survival timer works in my script, we've got already working at the top of the script. We got a combo mode, which is constantly going up depending on whether you hit the ball or not. So we got that. That will go to like plus 100, plus 200, whatever. Then we got survival ticker. Let me double check that. That's how it's working. times combo mode, and then you get the overall survival bonus, and then that gets added on to score, whatever that is. Well, let's say that's 100 or 1,000, and that gets added on to score. And this is my implementation. We've got the guard. It all happens in process because process is essentially every frame. Delta, got to convert that into a float, add that to alhamdulillah, a variable called survival timer, which is a float as well. And then we check if it's greater than or equal to 1, then add the survival points per second times by a combo mode, and then we negate 1 from the survival timer. So if 1 meaning the seconds, if 1 gets elapsed, then take away that 1 second. The reason you do that is because delta, at its core, it's fractional, right? It's a float. And especially if you're doing arithmetics with floats and dealing with time and stuff, you get remainder values. So in order to make sure it's accurate, you just want to take away that 1 second, leave the remainder, let that accumulate over time. This way it's going to be more accurate. So we go to our game quickly, build it. I'm not going to show my input. Yeah, let's leave that. Let's play it, watch the output, and you'll see that over time. So survival timer plus 20, plus 30, plus 40, plus 50. So you see that's going up with the combo. Oop. 20, 30, 40. That was a good hit. 50. Let's actually play the game, actually. Let's go. Okay. As soon as I decide to play. Anyways, so that's done. Okay, still running. That is done. Next, what we want is in the game. Never mind that. In the game, I want score to be on the left. So we have our game here. Let's go. We got our pivot. Oh my god, that's an awful pivot. Anyways, you know what that is. We've got our play area. Let's say this is the game area. I think it would be good to have a UI score, and then it just shows the current score. I'm going to implement that. I think my guess, look, I've never used godot before this, so I'm not sure. I'm guessing you might use some type of signal hooked up to game manager, because I'm guessing score has to live in game manager, so that's where it is. We might emit a signal from that and have a UI element inside the game. I'm guessing that's how it is, but I'm going to try to implement that, see how we get along. And yeah, once I'm done implementing it, I can show you what I've done. Right, so it's the next day. Basically, I had to run a lot of errands and I was away from my PC. I looked back at the footage and I thought that's not enough for a devlog, so I'm gonna combine 2 days into one. But anyways, what I did, I managed to put the score up there. I have like a HUD canvas layer element, put it onto the game, output a first it was just a temporary 999 score, it's just like a placeholder. And then what I've managed to do, I've wired up in Game Manager to emit a signal. Where's it gone? So I've got a delegate, stats changed event handler. And this one's different to the last ones because this one's actually giving data out. So it's going to give out the score, the lives, the combo. So whoever listens, they'll be able to read these values. So I might in the future have like as part of the canvas layer to show what the combo is, and obviously I'm going to have something to show what lives there are. Right now I'm not doing that, but I've got these values anyways. Stats changed, event handler, and then when I emit the signal, I've got an emit helper because it just seems like too long to write every single time a stats change. So we've got that to give emit the signal, emit the score, lives, combo multiplier, and that's under emit stats changed. And so anywhere in the game manager file where the stats have changed, I'm just emitting the signal so that the score and everything can be updated. So we got one there. Got one there when the balls hit. And we got one there when the balls lost. Sorry about that. So got that. And then in our HUD, I created a script. Yep. So in our HUD, we've got a HUD script as well. Our signal game manager, game manager. We got our score label, and basically we've got on stats. We've subscribed our method on stats changed to the game manager stats changed signal. And then so when the signal comes, then the method fires on stats changed. It takes in score, whatever, and then just change the label. I'm not dealing with lives and combo right now. So if you go into the game, we see that under HUD, we wire up our game manager. Let me show my input. And then if we play it, if you look at the top left, it should show the score. Right. So it goes up because of the time. That's 160, 180. And the more we play, the higher it goes up. Okay, I'm on my last life now. Bloody hell. Do you want to like include more depth when it comes to striking with a full charge and getting more points for that? But I think that's for later. There we go. Game over. If we see at the bottom, the final score should be. Oh, let me. There we go. You see at the bottom, final score should be 7 to 80, and that's what it shows. Now there is, so with that done, let's turn that out. With that done, I do want to fix one issue. If you see at the beginning, it still shows the placeholder until something's changed, then it changes it. So I want to fix that issue. So I've done some reading already, and I saw something called call deferred where you can give like the base stats on load or something like that. So I'm going to try to implement that just so it doesn't show the placeholder first when you load up the game. So I'm going to get on to doing that. Right, so that has been done. It was actually only one line, really. So what I did, everything stayed the same. All I had to really do was, where is it? So we got our delegate, stats changed, event handler, and basically, essentially for like when the game starts, it was showing the placeholder what's happening. We got this hierarchy here of everything within main and its children, and we've got this ready method, which when the game starts, every node within main triggers this ready method. And we had when we were instantiating this and emitting the signal, essentially, how do I explain it? So we got like, I don't know, the wall, ball, tall, got the wall, ball, pivot. This is the hierarchy within main, right? And then we got the game manager and we've got the HUD, right? So it's going through each of them doing the ready method. So it's going through each of them one by one. So when the game starts, it's already done the game manager's ready method, right? That's why the placeholder just stayed up, and then it did the HUD's ready method, right? And then the game starts, and then you play, and then only once we've emitted the signal, then HUD changes. That was happening here. So you play the game and then you lose the ball or you hit the ball, then it emits it. Whereas I'm not emitting it. So this will essentially you could have done emit stats changed and then subscribed it through the ready method on HUD. However, there would have been a problem because of the hierarchy. See, game manager comes first and then HUD, so it would have had to wait until that was ready. So what I've done, to put in simple terms, no, it's too many words. If you do something like callable from emits change, call deferred. What call deferred is doing is it's saying broadcast the initial stats, emit stats changed, which at this point in ready would be 0 lives, 0 score, 0 combo multiplier. Emit that, but because I've said call deferred, it's saying wait until all of the ready methods for each node has been set. So it's saying hold this for now, wait until everything is set, wait until all of the ready stuff is done, then go back to that deferred one and emit stats changed. So that's what's happening. I've managed to do that. I don't need my input for this. I can show you now, and it works. Look, it says 0, and now it shows correctly. Right, with that said and done, I'm happy with this. I'm starting to like playing this game. Like I said, I do want to add like deeper mechanics, but I think as a baseline it's good. There's other stuff that are more pressing that I want to get done. So the next step for me is a couple of them, right? So we've got HUD, but so far for HUD we've got the score done. We have lives and the combo. Both of them are not done, so I would ideally like to do that. And also complete game loop. So I do want to complete the game loop. What I mean by that is add on game over restart. So on game over restart, so that way with the game, I've actually got a complete loop going on, and it would be better if I get the complete game working, have it so that once the lives are zero, firstly get rid of the debug spawn ball thing. Then just have it so that you got 3 lives. Once you run out of 3 lives, game over screen, show the score, button to restart. That way I don't have to keep restarting the thing. And that way I'll have like a complete game loop there. Bare bones. But with that whole thing there, I'll be able to like tweak things like, okay, lives doesn't feel much at all, so increase the lives or increase the speed of the pivot or increase. I'd actually have a fully working game loop there so that I can make judgments better. So 2 aspects to do that I want to do: HUD and complete the game loop. I'm going to try to do complete the game loop first, get that pipeline sorted, and then since I've done this before, then just quickly do the HUD as well, just as a basic show lives and combo, get both of them working. Then I have something really concrete to build the rest of my game in. So I'm gonna get on with that. Right, so that has been implemented. Actually, both of them have been implemented. Both the HUD with the lives and the combo and the restart. So now I actually have a full complete game. Well, not a complete game, but I've got like a full loop going where you can play, fail, um, hit the ball, gain score, fail again, game over, restart. The way I've done it, so with HUD, we've got score label, combo label, lives label. That's just for in-game stuff. Then we've got the game over panel. That's just a panel. And I've made it invisible on load. And there, once it's visible, then you can see it will have the final score label there. So I'll just make it invisible for now, so that on load is invisible. I don't think I touched anything in main. And the way I implemented it was we've got this signal game over event handler final score. Nothing we haven't seen before. And then whenever we're calling game over, I've essentially extrapolated this into its own method, set and emit game over. What that will do is set the game state to game over and then emit the signal with the score. That way in HUD, we've got our labels there, our panel game over label. So we've got our new labels. We've subscribed on game over to the game manager's game over signal. So then once that signal emits, then on game over triggers, we set the text to say game over, the final score is this, press start to restart, and set visible to true. That's how we've done it. And then also in the project settings, we've got restart set to the start button, the menu button for Xbox. And is there anything else? I believe there was something else. Oh yeah, So in the processes of the game manager, just before I check the guard to see if we're not playing, put game state. If game state is game over, that means the game over screen is showing. So what we do is check for the input of restart, which is the menu button, and then if they click it, git tree reload current scene, that just reloads the current scene. So if I show my controller, hopefully that's showing, yeah. And I'll show the game now working. Should be good. So you see scores going up. I will sort out like the time if the ball's not in play. But lives to Molt 1. Let me respawn it. Boom. So you should see that the score and everything should be accurate. Oh, I also did move the bottom area to the ball out zone because I was seeing like cases where I strike the ball very close to the pivot and it would register as life lost. But anyways, game over, live 0, and then it shows game over, final score 3-190, which is the correct score. And then press start to restart. Click that, boom. Now we're back in the game. Our lives are back, combos back, scores going up. So yeah, that looks good actually. Sorry, I'm inundated with this game right now. Let's lose this. So yeah, that's good. Reload another one. It all works now. I've got a fully working game loop, so that's good. Alright, so what's next is, let's turn this off. What's next? What should I do next? So I want to incorporate one camera effect to try and make it feel. This doesn't feel substantial really. Everything feels flat. Obviously I don't really have graphics or anything, but sort that out later. What we can do is have some sort of camera effect where, so let's go here. Okay, so we could have some camera effect where we've got our whatever. If you strike it, so you got everything working. Once the ball's hit, then actually forget camera shake for now. I'll do that later. Just pause everything for like a split millisecond. It's not gonna show here. I don't know how to like explain it, but once the ball's hit, pause for a split millisecond and then resume everything to make it feel a bit more weighty. And I want a thing where, so depending on where the ball is, where the ball has been struck, which we can detect, this would mean if you strike it right at max radius, make it pause for 0. And then if you strike it at pivot, make it pause for a little bit longer. So I don't know what the max would be. Not the final value, but so 0 milliseconds. Let's say that's the range, 0 to 1. I might play around with that. The deeper the ball is, the stronger the strike is. I want the pause to be at just a little bit more, so it feels a bit more substantial. So I'm gonna try to, actually I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, have a snack, then come back, try to figure out how I'm gonna do this, and then hopefully once I implement it, it's actually gonna start feeling a bit better to play. So I'm gonna try to do that now. Yes. All right. So I don't even know how I'm gonna begin to explain that. That was a lot. So I actually did more than I bargained for, actually. Well, I did mention I was gonna try to implement charge-based and distance-based pausing, hit stop. So first, let me try to explain this. So, obviously I had to use Claude to help with the hit stop, which is the hitch, basically. Uh, I didn't know any of this code, how to even begin, so I had to ask Claude, try to break it down and explain it. So on ball hit, let's forget about everything for now. So on ball hit is when the ball gets hit, we get the signal, so then we do hit stop. And essentially what this is checking, is hit stop active? Because if it is, then there's like a double trigger and it might stack or cut it short, cut the hitch short. So just return if we're already in the middle of a hitch. Alhamdulillah. Else didn't run this, so hit stop is active, and at the end, make it inactive. We make we change the time scale of the entire engine to about 5% speed. So we slow the game down so much to make it seem like it's stopped. That's the only way we can actually slow the entire game down. Then we have to do a wait to signal and all of this stuff, right? Wait, what's timeout again? Did I mention that? No, timeout's not mine. Yeah, so we have to do a wait to signal. So what a wait does is it actually pauses just this method for however long hit stop duration is. So I've set that to, let's say I've set it to 80 milliseconds. A wait to signal just hit, everything else runs. It's just this method stops running for 80 milliseconds. Then once it's done, this carries on. We turn back the entire engine back to normal speed. That's all that done, right? And then I decided to do some wild detour. I was like, no, I want different hitch lengths depending on, firstly, the how close the ball is to the pivot to kind of simulate some type of tension, yeah, and also how much the player has charged. So you remember we got that bar, right? And if it's there, then it's charged 100%. So if it's charged 100%, then basically add that as well. So we got the charge pause. That'll be so max. That'll be max 80 milliseconds. Then we got the distance based one. Distance pause is max 80 milliseconds. We calculate the percentage of both of them. So if it's fully there, that's 100%. If it's there, then that's 0%. Same with the charge, right? So we figure out, okay, if the distance is 100% or 50, if the distance is 50%, find out 50% of that, which would be 40, and find out if the charge is at, I don't know, 100%, then figure out 100% of that, which is 80, and then you combine the two. That'll be 40, 80, 120 milliseconds. So that's how we're figuring out how long to hitch the game for. Now that required so much, found like I had to just rewire a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna try to get through this quick. So I had to go here in my delegates for the paddle, change ball hit handler so that it emits the ball proximity percentage and the charge percentage, right? Let's try to find the next part of that. Where is it? Should be here, right? Alright. Then we've got emit ball hit. So obviously we've got the winding state. We've already got the pivot to ball distance. We know that pivot to ball dot length gives us the distance, right? So we do emit ball hit, give the distance. Emit ball hit is a new method that I just made, which emits the signal and then gives the ball proximity percentage and the charge percentage. I hope this is making sense. And in these methods, I wrote up here, are just simple, right? We've done these before, and then I realized these are duplicate duplicate formulas that I'm doing, because I'm also doing it for calculate charge bonus and calculate proximity bonus. So I have to extract that, put it into its own method, call those within these methods, then put them into the emit ball hit. So now it's emitting the percentages. So then I had to go to game manager on ball hit, just make sure I include the, even though I'm not using it, make sure I include the arguments, else it just threw an error basically. And then go to game feel and then rewire it, go to on ball hit, calculate the proximity hit stop duration, calculate the charge hit stop duration, combine it, plug it into do hit stop, and then just plug it into there. So that's all that done. And then this is what my game looks and feels like. And I'll be honest, it's a little bit disappointing. I'm being honest. So I've gotten rid of the charge bar because it was getting in the way and it kind of looked weird. But if we play, you can see that I'm charging, yeah. So you can see now, oh, now it actually hitches. So if I add that with like the ball hitches and then the screen shakes a little bit, then I think it will be a really good type of thing. So if I'm playing the game, whoop, look at that. Closer is slightly longer. So it's a bit more tuned. But there is one ever so slight problem. Alright, I'm going to show you this. And I'm not going to finish this off today. But I just, oh, why did I do that? Let's start the game. And let's go here. How do I pin a window? Windows Control T. That should be that. You can see that. So I'm just gonna make the hit stop duration. So it's usually, let's make it 1 second for both. Right. And the hit stop timescale is 0.05, yeah. Now if we, do you see that? So I've hit it, but whenever I hit it, it's like slowly moving. But I guess that's because it's 5% speed. But here's the thing, right? Because you think that. Let's turn the hit stop timescale to 0% instead of 5%, right? Now it just does it faster. So I don't understand why. Because it's supposed to be a second. Now let's do 0.01. See that? So I don't understand what is even going on there. And now that's just instant. So it's not doing it. So I don't know, there is a little bit of a bug. It seems to work. Well, let's do 50%. Let's test this out. See, it doesn't really work. So if you got a 0.05, right, go back to the default. Okay, that's not working now. because it's supposed to be a combined 2 seconds, and it's still doing max hit stop proximity. Okay, so that's a bug. Let's go back to the normal one, 0.08, 0.08. Right, let's. So actually, to be fair, I do like the way this feels. So the closer it is, the longer it hitches. So I do want to. That's all done, but it has like included a whole host of issues and bugs and whatnot. But I feel like I've done enough today. I still need to edit and combine yesterday and today. But I'm proud of what I've done so far. Next, tomorrow, once I edit this and upload it, get some sleep. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna try to figure out what the hell's going on, because it seems like it's kind of half working if I set it at the default values. Let's do this. Yeah, so it like half works when I set it at the default values, but it's still like there's some movement. But also, whenever I manipulate these values, it seems to just have its own sort of sense of what to do. So it's very buggy, but the foundations have been laid, and I'm gonna start on that tomorrow. But today, this episode of the Devlog, I think that's enough. I appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, see you later.